There is a name on the Bình Thuận coast that men lowered their voices for after dark. The first fisherman who gave it to me sat by a basket of drying squid, pinched out his oil lamp, and said the sea listened when Kaong was named. I walked the road from Phan Thiết with sand in my sandals and salt stiff on my sleeves. The sea lay to my left all afternoon, dull pewter under monsoon cloud, while fish sauce yards breathed their sharp, fermented smell into the wind. Farther north, near Nha Trang and Vạn Ninh, I found the same reverence under different skies. There the water shone green at noon and black at dusk. Bamboo masts knocked together in the harbour, and every tide seemed to carry some old breath back ashore. Men called him Ka-ong, the Lord Fish. Some said simply Ong, as one would speak of an elder whose mat remained empty, but whose authority had not left the room. Others used Nam Hai Dai Tuan Quân, the great general of the southern sea. In the south, near Bạc Liêu and Cà Mau, I heard Duk Ong and Ong Nam Hai. The names shifted with province and accent, yet all kept the same posture of respect. No one I met called the stranded body mere meat once the waves gave it up. One account was given to me in the 7th month of a storm year, remembered as 1874. The witness was a helmsman's son from Laji. His father had gone out before dawn for mackerel and met a wall of rain by the outer shoals. He said the sea changed first by sound. The wind did not rise all at once. It broke in torn bursts through the rigging, and beneath that came a hollow breathing near the boat, slow and wet, larger than any oar splash. Then a back surfaced beside them, black, smooth. Rainwater ran over it like oil. His father swore the boat stopped rolling the moment that shape held to the starboard side, as if another hull had come up under the storm to steady them. They reached shore after noon with one mast split and 2 men vomiting from fear. The father paid for the sight in sleep. For 3 months, he woke at the hour before dawn, hearing that breathing outside the mat wall whenever the tide turned. Along the coast, people had learned the signs. Frigate birds flew inland too early. The surf took on a blunt, heavy rhythm. Dogs in the fish market refused scraps and stared toward open water, noses lifted, as if the sea carried a stranger's skin. Old boatmen told me never to curse a whale, living or dead, once lanterns were lit. No knife touched stranded flesh. No one stepped across the jawbone when remains were cleaned for burial. Children were slapped quiet for rough laughter near the shore. There were gentler signs as well. A patch of sea would suddenly flatten while the rest chopped white in wind. Nets came up, brushed aside, rather than torn. Men who had drifted too long said their boats felt nudged from beneath. Once, twice, then shoreward. When a carcass landed, the village watched for the dream. Someone, often an elder, saw an official robe, heard a title spoken, or met a dignified stranger on a shore with no footprints. Funeral cloth was bought, and drums were prepared. In Bình Thuận, I was shown a Lang Ong, a whale temple, where ribs arched overhead like pale rafters. Incense curled through the salt smell of old bone. There, the elders said, Ka Ong favored poor crews, especially men caught far out with torn sails. At Phu Yen, another telling changed the manner of rescue. There the whale did not merely steady boats, it bore men on its back through breakers, one after another, while women onshore saw only heads in the foam and a dark curve beneath. On Lee Son Island I heard a sterner version. Fishermen there said disrespect brought refusal. A drunken man mocked a stranded whale, and later, in a squall, no guiding body rose beside his skiff. His companions came home. He did not. They said little more. The oldest written name I could find waited in Vietnamese tradition rather than in a fisherman's mouth. Learned men pointed me toward Viet Dien U Linh Tup, and later coastal temple registers, where sea spirits and protective powers were named with courtly titles and offerings. The written pages were sparse, beside the living voices. More came from family altars, memorial tablets, and temple caretakers who unwrapped old petitions with dry fingers. In those papers, beached whales received funerary honors, official names, and anniversaries kept by tide and moon. What the road taught me was simple in shape and difficult in feeling. Along that coast, a whale was never only an animal once it crossed into human danger and human gratitude. Salt, incense, mourning cloth, and rescue sat together in the same room. I left the southern sea with brine dried white on my pack, and the temple drum still in my ears. Tell me a story from your province that didn't make it onto paper.